And the way Mike Benz describes it as the stuff that's too dirty for the CIA.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so they can have plausible deniability too. Because like, what are you talking about?
Non-government organization.
Yeah, there you go. That's total right. Yeah, exactly. It's like in the name. They might as well call it. They're like, we're not the CIA.
The good guys.
We're just George Soros's NGO, not the CIA at all. Totally removed. But also the thing is that, you know, when you look at like the actual money, because sometimes they'll kind of point out that they're like, oh, this is a very small percentage of the budget. And it's like, yeah.
It's tiny amount of money.
Well, right. It's a small
just
percentage
a few
of
$billion.
Our budget.
Yeah.
But our budget, I mean, I know the entire GDP of Russia is like $2 trillion. The entire economy. And I don't know what Ukraine is, but smaller than that. And we spend like between $6 and $7 trillion a year, just our government. So when you're talking about flooding in $100 million, flooding in a few billion, I think like it's like $5 or $6 billion since '91 we've put into Ukraine. That may not sound like that much money in the context of America, the biggest economy or the second biggest economy in the world. But politically, in a small country like Ukraine, that moves mountains. That changes the entire landscape when the world empire is pumping that type of money in.
What do you think the world looks like, though, if the United States doesn't do that? So if the United States doesn't, this is like the Mike Baker perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if the United States doesn't make friends with these dictators, if the United States doesn't put people who are sympathetic to our causes in power, China does, Russia does, it looks very bad for America all over the world. Things get dangerous.
It's almost always the war hawks rely on an unfalsifiable counterfactual. You know, so it's like, oh, but if we didn't do this and we ran the counterfactual, it would be this crazy other scenario that's somehow even worse than this.
Right.
Now, the problem with that, from my perspective, is number one, the factual scenario is like something like 4 to 5 million dead civilians over the last 25 years, entire nations destroyed, $8 trillion depleted from the U.S. Treasury, tens of thousands of our bravest young men blowing their brains out. So, you know, if you're relying on this unfalsifiable counterfactual, but it would have been worse if we hadn't fought a war in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and Libya and Somalia and Yemen and all these places over the last years. Okay. I'd say the onus is on you to really have to demonstrate that and not just assert that it would be worse if we hadn't done this. But also, like, you know, we're going broke doing it. Like, we're $36 trillion in debt. We can't even afford it. And the idea that if we were to get out of the game of being the world empire, then, like, China would go, okay, great, now we get to destroy ourselves. And it just seems completely... It seems extremely unlikely that that would be the case. And also, you know, it's like people act like, okay, if we weren't doing this in Ukraine, then Vladimir Putin could do whatever he wanted to. Or if we weren't doing this, then China could do whatever they wanted to. But they've got adversaries all around them, too, who are richer than them. Maybe not in China's case, but certainly in Putin's case, richer than them, are opposed to them. All of Western Europe is not just a pushover. China has Japan and South Korea, and they've got their own... You know, the truth is that nobody has the power that the U.S. government has to do this shit. It's only, like, we're the ones who can do this. And it would just be a better world if we just didn't. Like, you just can't convince me that, like, if we just hadn't have fought the terror wars, like, which was totally a possibility. The whole war on terrorism could have been over by Christmas of 2001 with the special ops taking out the Al-Qaeda cells. They could have trapped Osama bin Laden in Tora Bora when they had him there. They let him escape into Pakistan. Because, you know,
why do you think they did that?
Because they already had their eye on Baghdad. And, you know, if Osama bin Laden is caught, you don't get your bonus war. You know what I mean? He's got the whole war propaganda for invading Afghanistan. It wasn't, everyone remembers WMDs, but it wasn't just that claim. It was the claim which Dick Cheney and George W. Bush and all the neocons pushed real hard, was that he was in on 9/11. Now, this totally fell apart because it was never true and they knew it wasn't true. But the claim was he's got these weapons and he could hand them off to the terrorists, and then You know what was the Condoleezza Rice line was like, we don't want the warning to be in the form of a mushroom cloud or something like that. Like the fear was they're going to nuke Kansas or whatever as soon as Saddam Hussein gives the weapons he doesn't have to the terrorists he's not friends with. But if they caught Osama bin Laden, I think that would have destroyed the whole 7 wars in 5 years.
It's the Wesley
strategy.
Clark strategy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You want to hear something else on the Wesley Clark thing? This is new. Piers Morgan, say what you will about him, he hosted a debate between, which I love doing the show. I'm not trashing it, but it's a circus. But
it is a circus.
Yes.
I think he's very smart.
Oh, he's a genius, dude.
That circus is fucking a lot of people lining up.
Dude, he is. He figured out, and you got to give him so much credit because he's probably the only one from like the old guard of corporate media who figured it out. He went, okay, I see where we are.
Yes.
I see what's going on, and I know what people want to see happen.
Tucker figured it out too, but in a different way.
Tucker is actually, yes. Tucker's the one who really figured it out.
Basically doing this kind of a show.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
he's
I think
basically doing long form podcast.
Well, look.
But with people who sucked Obama's dick.
Sometimes.
And other various experts.
And other guests.
And other really,
it's
really.
Not only that.
Yeah, really amazing people.
Maybe 10% of the coverage is about who sucked Obama's dick.
Did you see that physician who was on the other day that was talking about all the cancer rises?
Yeah.
They're seeing cancer.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw a few clips from it. It's very interesting.
Crazy. They're seeing pancreatic cancer in kids, little kids, which is just unheard of. He was saying that in all of his career, he had never seen pancreatic cancer in a child before.
Right.
And now they're seeing it.
Well, they used to call type 2 diabetes adult onset diabetes.
Right.
Because it was like, the kids don't get it. It was like unheard of.
Right.
And now it's like all over the place.
Right.
I saw that thing. I saw it because you posted it, but the Kaylee Means.
Yes.
Wasn't
it fucking amazing?
Oh, so great.
Wasn't
dude.
it fucking amazing? It's just amazing that they're arguing against this.
Well, there's like no argument. And like I'm far from, I don't really understand the shit that well. But you go, okay, it's crazy that Bobby Kennedy is overhauling this whole thing and cutting all this. And you're like, okay, we spend more on health than any other nation in the world by far.
And we're
the
sicker.
sickest.
Yeah.
You're telling me there should, and your position here, it just like exposes that the entire media, it's like your position here is to get in between the regime and any threat to the regime.
Well, it's also radical change, and radical change causes controversy, and controversy is what they sell.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the media is going to sell that, and they're going to sell it on the angle of this is creating all sorts of problems, all sorts of people are losing their jobs, budgets are getting cut, people are getting fired, they're out on the street. It's that. Like that's just what they have to do that.